Now for the trenders, what's hot, what's not, social media action. Here's where you can find us. Facebook.com/EdShow, Twitter.com/EdShow, and ed.msnbc.com. On the radio Monday through Friday, Sirius XM radio channel 127, noon to 3. And you get my radio podcast on my website at WeGotEd.com. The Ed Show Social Media Nation has decided we're reporting. Here are today's top trenders voted on by you.
Son, you're on your own.
The number 3 trender, lasting impression.
Arizona Senator John McCain has an unfortunate new superlative.
Oh, you are just the worst type of person.
He is the least popular senator in the country.
Thank you for not mentioning that I lost running for president of the United States.
John McCain's poll position is not how you want to end a career.
Public policy polling says that a dislike of McCain is something Republicans, Democrats, and independents can agree upon.
You don't have any friends.
Only 30% of Arizonans approve of the job McCain is doing.
You're down to paid staff and blood relatives.
Nobody likes you.
The number 2 trender, double talk.
I did things according to the rules, and then Mr. Cummings decided to have quite a hissy fit.
Let me say what I have to say.
Hey, shut up with the shut up.
Darrell Issa apologizes, but claims Congressman Cummings' comments were staged.
Mr. Cummings, in what appears to have been a pre-staged event, he lost his temper, he screamed and yelled.
You can't have a hearing without hearing one syllable from the other side.
You know, I broke no rules, and he broke the decorum of the House. But
That is not American. It's not the way we do it in America.
And today's top trender, hitting the brakes.
I probably am public enemy number 1 to the UAW.
Senator Corker is now the face of anti-union propaganda in this country. Senator Corker says a reversal by the National Labor Relations Board in Chattanooga would be unprecedented.
We expressed our concerns, and they're saying that we interfered somehow.
Corker was misleading workers and making threats.
It'll be unprecedented if the National Labor Relations Board actually overrules for that reason. I stand by those comments. I was never made them if I didn't have full assurances that everything I said was 100% factual.
The right to have a union or not should be left to the workers without interference.
Joining me tonight, Leo Gerard, President of the United Steelworkers International. We want to point out that the UAW has decided not to talk about this. But the bottom line is Senator Corker continues to talk about it. In fact, he wrote in the Wall Street Journal just recently about his actions involved in this. Mr. Gerard, how hard is it going to be to get a vote, a revote in this plant or in any plant? What precedent has to be set, or what has been set, that would call and set the table for a revote?
Well, look, at any time you're trying to get a revote, it's never easy. But let me just say this. When you see the response from Senator Corker and his sort of exaggeration that he brought forward, when you see him being so defensive, that's because he knows he's guilty. And what he's guilty of is interfering in an independent, free election between the workers at Volkswagen. And what he didn't do is just say it's the workers' choice. What he did was try and intimidate them by saying that he had heard from a high source that if they voted for the union, they wouldn't get the next model. And let me just say, a couple of days after that, one of the workers who's on the board of supervisors, a senior person on the board of supervisors at Volkswagen in Germany, actually came back and said with Corker's attitude, they might have to revisit whether they put any plants in the South.
Well, it's interesting.
So you know that Corker's guilty, and he knows he's guilty.
It's almost as if he's running a PR campaign to mop this thing up. He keeps bringing it up. Now, he says that the UAW wants to muzzle public officials like himself. What's your response to that?
The UAW doesn't want to muzzle any public official. What the UAW is saying, and rightfully so, is that Corker, as a senator, the governor of that state, a state senator, all ganged up and made irresponsible interference into a free election between the workers, and they used threats. Had that been done by the employer, that would be an obvious unfair labor practice. So instead of having the employer who wanted to work with the UAW, who had an agreement with the UAW that they'd work together on making sure that the plant was successful, Corker, the governor, and the state senator come in and they start intimidating the workers, and basically in a form of threat that they could end up losing their jobs over the long term if no new models were put into Chattanooga. If that was done by the employer, that would be an unfair labor practice. So this is a new precedent. In my time in the union, which is close to 40 years, I've never seen a government official stick their nose in and threaten in a union organizing drive.
And now he's trying to soft pedal. He's now trying to soft pedal it, saying that, well, they think I interfered somehow. If go ahead.
No, he's on record. We got his voice. And this is not make-believe. We've got his voice making that threat. We've got the governor's voice supporting that threat. We've got the state senator's voice supporting that threat. So this is not something that maybe could have, should have, could not have. This is a direct statement that he made, and he's on live on voice on that.
Why would it take the NLRB a long time to make a decision on this?
Well, I think the NLRB, by its very nature, is very cautious. No matter who's sitting at the board, they make sure they look at precedent, they make sure they look at history, they make sure they look at the witnesses, and they go through it. And if you've got a labor board that is even half fair, they will come to the realization that Corker misled the community, misled the workers, and he did it deliberately to try and influence the outcome of that vote.
All right. Well, if he isn't challenged, I don't know where it's going to end, and it certainly sets a precedent for actions of other officials in the future.
If I can, for just one more moment,
yeah.
The labor movement met not very long ago, and I can tell you on behalf of the steelworkers, we're not going to be run out of the South by his misrepresentation. In fact, our union and many other unions are going to accelerate our organizing in the South.
Leo Gerard, Steelworkers International Union President. Great to have you with us tonight, sir. Thank you.